Do you remember the cow of Lavashkiri? Most of us remember it with an earring on its nose. Well, do you remember the man who was drawn on Monopoly game? A lot of people remember him wearing an eye lens. If you used to see these things, I would like to tell you that you have been gone through the Mandela effect, because the cow Lavashkiri had never worn an earring on its nose, and the man from Monopoly had never worn an eye lens. So ladies and gentlemen, where is the Mandela effect, and who is Mandela anyway? Nelson Mandela is a man from South Africa who always stood against the racist government in South Africa. Until 1962, he was sentenced to life imprisonment for sabotage and conspiracy to overthrow the government. Millions of people remember and pretty sure that Mandela died in the 80s of the last century. And they remember everything about his funeral. Televisions and newspapers talk about it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to shock you with the fact that Mandela didn't die in the 18s. He lived and got out of the prison in 1990. He lived and became the president of South Africa and won the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1993. And then he died, but only in 2013. Millions of people started to remember things that had never happened or ever existed. And there are a lot of examples. Do you remember the character Pikachu? A lot of people remember that the edge of his tail was black, but that's not true because it's always been yellow. And there are Americans remember that, and 100% sure that the states of the United States were 51 or 52. When it comes to me, I remember we were arguing about that. I was saying it was 51, however there always have been 50. How could such a phenom that deceives millions of people be existed? All of them are hallucinating with the same details on the same thing? It's really strange, especially after you know the explanations. The first explanation is that one of the scientists named it false memory. He says that its cause is a specific syndrome called FMS, false memory syndrome. But it's not persuasive at all, because it assumes that the same false memory happens to millions of people who are not related to each other, neither severally nor culturally. There is even no communication between them. However, the second explanation is weird and terrifying, which is connected with the parallel universes and different reality. And that thing is what happens in CERN lab, the biggest scientific lab ever in the world. And their experiments is accelerating elementary atomic particles, such as protons and electrons, releasing them at the speed of light and making collisions between each other to turn them into their primary compounds, or smaller atomic particles. Physicists say that because of the power of the explosions and the energy that produced from CERN laboratory that created the gaps or overlaps between the reality of our world and the reality of another parallel world. And because of that, memories of the parallel world history leaked into our world and changed people's memories. And there are scientists say that this experiment didn't just change the memories, but they also changed the history itself. They mean that Mandela may have actually died in the 80s, but because of CERN's experiments, there is a reality and parallel history leaked into our world and changed the history itself. So suddenly we woke up one morning and we're surprised that Mandela is still alive. It's really horrible, but the problem is, it's scientifically acceptable. And the third explanation says that there are people from our future discovered a travel time technology and could go back in time and make changes. And because of that, a series of changes happened in our history. And they kept getting bigger and bigger until they changed a lot in our world. What do you think, Darksider? Which one of the explanations makes more sense? When it comes to me, I would say the second explanation is the strangest one, but I find it the most acceptable one. Thank you for watching. Peace.